You need to say no, and feel comfortable saying no. Not everything deserves your time. If a task or meeting doesn't serve you, it's okay to say no. You have to set those boundaries because these are going to be essential to create time. Welcome to Empowermente. It's been such a crazy week and I am so excited. I'm so excited to talk to you. I think a big mistake that I used to do as a content creator is not address the current state of the world and what's going on and just continue to post my regular content. And I'm learning from my mistakes. And I think it's important to address that this week was very heavy for a lot of us in terms of elections and politics. Politics shapes so many of our lives, and it's delusional and elusive to think that it doesn't affect us personally. If you're a person who doesn't like being involved with politics, well, politics likes being involved with you, so you better get up and start listening. I wanted to share briefly why I decided to talk about politics and the upcoming election. It wasn't a hard decision, but it was something that was hard to do. I'm not a political science person. I am not a politics creator, but I did feel a responsibility to post about it because of what my mission stands for. I have a mission to empower Latinas and women's rights. I started by empowering Latinas in STEM. And if you want Latinas to do STEM, you cannot do STEM without education. If we want more Latinas to get educated, we need funding to go to schools, not only public schools, but also to college funds such as aid in financial aid through state grants and federal grants. So I strongly believe that, and that is a policy. And when it comes to Latinas in STEM and tech in the workplace, I advocate for workplace equity and freedom of choice. I want women to have autonomy and financial freedom and freedom in general. The second reason is access to mental health. In an earlier conference this year, I realized that mental health care is healthcare. So if I want to advocate for communities like ours to have the access to healthcare and mental health care, then I have to support policies that help with that. Too many people can't get the help that they need, and that is also a policy that is up to us, the American people, to decide. And the last thing that I advocate for is first-gen empowerment. Immigration is very personal to me. Our community faces so many challenges, and for you to come tell me that you don't need immigrants and that you're gonna deport I don't know how many of them, I want to see what this country would be like without immigrants. This directly affects my family, many of our families, and this is a very strong stance that I have. And so this is just a non-negotiable for me. I got somebody commenting in one of my videos like, hey, Gina, it's too early for you. You could have gotten such a good opportunity if you didn't post about politics. Excuse me, I post what I aligned with. And to me, my mission is very clear, and it's very clear how it's related to politics. And I would rather align with people and opportunities that are aligned with what I stand for. So don't come and tell me that it's gonna hurt me, my brand, or my business. And so, yeah, I think I talk about politics because it's my choice, it's my platform, and I didn't leave a 9-to-5 job to be restricted in what I could and could not talk about. So as a person who wants to empower Latinas and protecting our health, our rights, our future, that's why I'm vocal, because our legacies are on the line. And unfortunately, we didn't see the results that we wanted for this election. And that doesn't mean we give up. We're going to keep fighting. And that's what I have to say about politics. Now that we got that pink elephant out of the room, I want to talk. I have been telling you guys that I'm going to release several free guides, and I'm so excited because this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. And if you don't know what a guide is basically like a PDF mini book that gives you a lot of insights about something. And the very first one that I'm going to release is Productivity Hacks for High Achieving Queens from a Latina ADHD baddie, How to Balance It All. I do get a lot of questions about time management and productivity because, as you may know, I am a content creator, public speaker. I have 2 Airbnb listings. I have a podcast. I dedicate time to my family. I work out and I do so many things. And I've always been that person that does so many things. And so in the past year and a half, I've really cracked into who I want to be as an entrepreneur in terms of productivity. And I've uncovered so many things that I wish that I knew. And so I want to share those with you. And this is coming from a person that was diagnosed with ADHD in her mid-20s. And it really reshaped and revamped the way that I thought about productivity. I don't take medication. It's a conscious choice that I made. A lot of people ask me about getting an ADHD diagnosis and going to a psychiatrist. If you want me to do a full episode on that, I can. Just send me a DM. And if there's enough DMs, I will make one. I just think that getting a diagnosis is not necessary for you to take action in doing the things that make you feel good. If you know that you would accept medication, then you do need a diagnosis so that you can get the help that you need in terms of medication. But if you know that you're a person that doesn't want to go the medication route, you don't need somebody to diagnose you. You don't need even to have an ADHD level to take action in the things that you know that are going to help you. And this is also coming from a place of being a Latina who knows that we have to balance not only our lives, but balance the relationships with our families, right? Balance our time with work and with lots of cultural expectations that come with that you have to show up perfectly, that you have to do everything right the first time, that you're expected to operate at the highest level of things. The purpose of the guide is to have a resource to help you balance it all in a practical way, and it'll include life-changing tips that helped me. The guide will be packed with strategies for balancing productivity while staying true to your personal goals. I'm going to give you the top 7 insights from my journey to be the most productive person that you can be. But if you want all the actual tips that I have for you, you have to download the guide. And the way to download it is to be in my email list. So if you look at the show notes, go to soyginamoreno.com/sign up and you can get access to the full PDF as soon as you register. So with all that, let's get started with the top 7 key insights and tips that have helped me do absolutely everything that I want and that I dream of. Okay, so number 1 is to boost your mood as soon as you wake up. Dopamine is a necessary hormone in order for you to create the motivation and the drive for you to get up and do stuff. So what I want you to do is that instead of doing your workout in the middle of the day or in the evening, I want you to do it in the morning. Dopamine is fuel, whether you have ADHD or not. It's just going to help you have such a productive day if you do it in the morning. So whether you go out and do your actual workout, you do a walk, or if you just dance in the kitchen while you clean, moving in the morning sets the stage for you to focus all day. I highly recommend for you to get your workout first thing in the morning. It's going to set you up for a fantastic day. And I personally hold myself accountable by taking classes. So I highly recommend you to boost your mood in the mornings by doing a workout. The second thing for productivity that I learned as a program manager, and a lot of the methodologies and skills that I learned in corporate as a program manager and as a technical account manager, are the things that I do now. I would get so many questions on how will you manage your time as a product manager? How will you ensure that you prioritize the right things? And my answer for this was the Eisenhower matrix of prioritization. If you're feeling overwhelmed with the tasks that you have, the Eisenhower matrix can help you figure out what's actually important and focus on what matters so that you don't get lost in busy work. So anytime that you start working and you sit down in your computer, I want you to pull out and create an Eisenhower matrix. What is an Eisenhower matrix? We're going to leave a graphic here so that you can see it, but basically you're going to divide everything that you need to do into 4 quadrants. And first, what I would do is write down every single thing that comes to mind that you have to do. Everything, personal work, errands, everything. And after you finish writing all the things that you need to do, you're going to divide it into 4 quadrants. 1, important and urgent. These are things that are important for you to do and that there's a deadline for you to get done. The second thing is that it's urgent but not important. So this is something that you have to get done like ASAP, but it's not necessarily something that's gonna like change the way that you do things. And I'll give you a few examples. This can be responding to your social media DMs. It's something that's urgent, but it's not necessarily something that's gonna move the needle in something that you're doing unless you have like an active offer. Another thing can be like responding like a non-urgent text message from a friend, attending a last minute meeting that doesn't directly relate to your key responsibility. So it's urgent, but it's not really important. This is often described as busy work, and I didn't know this, but if you are doing these tasks that are urgent but not important, it is busy work. And I think a big part of this is differentiating what is what. The next quadrant that I want you to divide your stuff in is important but not urgent. I think this is a lot easier to understand, things that are top of mind and priority to you, but they're not necessarily something that you need to do right now. And the last one is not important and not urgent. And these are things that you're probably going to have to delegate. And once you divide it into those 4 quadrants, you're going to know what to work on first. Usually I just choose 2 to 3 things to do a day that are big, and that's pretty much it. So if it's important or urgent, I want you to do it. These things have a clear deadline. They have consequences if you don't do them right now. If it's important and not urgent, I want you to schedule it. So this is activities that are important, but they don't have a set deadline. I want you to schedule those for later in your calendar. If they're important and urgent, I urge you to delegate them. So things that need to be done but don't require your specific skills are just busy work. For example, if you need to upload a blog post, schedule posts on social media, respond to emails, or meal prep, this is something that you can outsource. And I highly recommend you to outsource the things that don't add joy or value into your life. And lastly, the not important and not urgent. Deleted. Most of the times, they're distractions that make you feel worse afterwards. And I feel like if you are really like attached to this, you can also create another document or another list and label it parking lot items. These are things that are going to be nice to get to at some point, but not right now. So that covers the Eisenhower matrix. Let's move on to the next item. So far we've covered from the 7 insights that I want to share: morning moves and mood boosters. Do the Eisenhower matrix for prioritization. The third way to think about the things that you're doing is big rocks versus little rocks. And you have to do the big rocks first and then the little rocks later. The concept is that a big rock is like a big task that you have to do, and a little rock is something that you can knock off faster. Focus on your high impact tasks first and then leave the smaller tasks for later. And so, for example, at some point before I launched my group coaching program, I had to create it. So this was a big rock for me, and this was always something that I worked and tried to prioritize to do first. Number 4 is to batch tasks and work in sprints. As a person with ADHD, what I tend to do is that I am like an all or nothing person. I will go and work and work and work and work and even forget to breathe. So for you to be able to perform better, I want you to breathe. Every 25 to 30 minutes, I want you to take a break. So during your break, you can get sunlight, go for a walk, or just take a few deep breaths, because you disconnecting and connecting again, it's going to give you a new perspective and a really fresh view on the things that you're doing. Number 5 is that your environment matters. Your workplace and the way that you work, how you work, and where you work matters. I want you to avoid at all costs sitting in your couch or sitting in your bed if you want to be productive. When I'm really tired, I usually lean towards sitting on the couch because it feels much more comfortable with my body. Or if I have cramps before my period, but I only advise you to do this when you're like about to stop working, because your brain associates the productivity level of output that you're able to give where you are in space and time. So if you go and sit and work in your bed, you are gonna be sleepy and you're gonna be sad. You're gonna be miserable the whole time you're working because your brain is gonna be confused. So I don't recommend working from the bed and couch. This was something that I could barely break out of this year, and I've really been working from my desk, and I highly, highly recommend that. The next thing is to learn to say no. Mi amiga, tienes que aprender a decir no. No puedes estar diciendo así a todo lo que quieres hacer. You need to say no, and feel comfortable saying no. Not everything deserves your time. If a task or meeting doesn't serve you, it's okay to say no. You have to set those boundaries, because these are going to be essential to create time to create what you actually want to create. The last hack that I have for you that will complete the 7 productivity hacks that I want to share with you is to use tech tools such as AI and delegation. So for every single thing that I do, I usually have some AI tool to help me. When it comes to editing this podcast, when it comes to editing videos. And so for example, to edit this podcast, I use Descript. Descript is such a good tool, and it's also good for videos where I'm talking. It allows you to see the script, and then you can just erase parts of the script that you don't want, and it'll edit the video for you. In terms of delegation, I tend to delegate things that are not value add to me, and I've hired people through Upwork to help me. I just look for somebody that knows how to do the job. I worked with somebody for 6 months previously, and right now I'm working with someone for my Generation Pionera stuff. Even if you don't have a business, start thinking as a business, because if you want to climb the corporate ladder and have a very high position in corporate America, you basically are going to run a business. So if you found any of these hacks helpful, I highly recommend for you to download my free guide. It's called Productivity Hacks for High Achieving Queens from a Latina ADHD Baddie. This guide is going to teach you how to balance it all and be able to show up fully and happily as you do it. I don't recommend implementing all the things I'm going to give you in this guide at once. Try to implement 2 to 3 things at a time. And really, productivity is about trial and error. Make sure that you test and see how you feel at least 2 weeks, and then make a decision to know if you want to keep it or not. And that concludes today's episode. I want to remind you that there's 3 ways to work with me. One is through my group coaching program that is currently ongoing. I will be opening doors at some point next year. So if you knew that you wanted to join the first time, it is going to change slightly this time around, but the concept in and of itself is going to be the same mission, same concept. The second is to hire me for a workshop or a speaking engagement. I love working with schools and universities to talk to first generation students. But overall, you guys know my mission to empower women and empower Latinas. So I am open for speaking engagements for next year. I got a really exciting opportunity for February that I can't wait to share. And so the topics that I talk about range depending on the audience, but some of the things that I talk about are things like this: productivity hacks and things that are going to help you work more efficiently, how to take up space and build confidence to build your executive presence, how to self-advocate for how to be an advocate for yourself. And I love to talk about mental health advocacy within the Latino communities. The third way to work with me right now is through one-on-one private coaching. So this is the only really customized program that I have right now. If you know that you need help in managing yourself and managing the way that you show up in your life, and you would like my support during the process, the way that it works is that you get 3 calls a month with me, and then you get one-on-one access to me through messaging app. So I don't know, specifically Slack. So then when you're having issues and you need support, I'm able to support you throughout the whole thing. And that is, I think, it. I'm excited. I think I'm going to do a part 2 in this, and let me know what specific hacks helped you. And if you got the guide, let me know what you think about it. Or if you're going to get it, let me know. I also want to know if you are excited about it. So that is it. And every podcast episode, I end by singing. So I think that's what I'm gonna do now. You know it. Thank you.